Devastator squadrons, Stern Guard, veteran squads, tactical squads, or scout units. And then Space Wolves can't take Apothecaries, Assault Squads, Devastator Squads, Stern Guard veterans, Tactical Squads, or Vanguard veterans, because they get things like Grey Hunters, Blood Claws, Sky Claws, all that kind of stuff. And so you can make a successor chapter of a non-codex compliance chapter if you so desire. So that's good. And they also detail what the abilities mean. So what Angels of Death means. So Angels of Death gives you And They Show No Fear, Bolter Discipline, Shock Assault, and Combat Doctrines. So And They Show No Fear now is you ignore modifiers to combat attrition tests. So you're only going to lose guys on ones ever. That doesn't mean that you get to reroll failed leadership tests. So your guys will run away more often than previously, because previously you had about a little bit more than a 30% chance for any Space Marine squad to just automatically pass a leadership test just because they can roll a 1 always, and even on the reroll. Then you got Bolter Discipline. They did change this slightly. Let's see here. So if the shooting unit is infantry, excluding Centurions, and it's remained stationary, you get Bolter Drill. Whereas opposed to Centurions just always used to get Bolter Drill all the time. Even if they were at 24 inches and they moved. So now Terminators and Bikers will always get full Bolter Discipline for getting double shot, double the number of attacks. Shock Assault is the same, and Combat Doctrines are the same as well. So then we have deployment abilities. So we have Combat Squads, Death from Above, Concealed Positions, Outflank, and Teleport Strike. So Death from Above and Teleport Strike are effectively the same thing. Combat Squads lets you split your 10-man squads upon deployment. Concealed Positions lets you forward deploy, so you're 9 inches away from enemy models or their deployment zone. And then Outflank lets you come in from the sides of the board, as long as you're fully within 6 inches of the side of the board. Yeah, so that's an ability that some units have, like Scouts. And now we're on to data sheets. So there's 90-something data sheets in the Space Marine book. So I'm probably going to touch on some of them, but I'm not going to go super in-depth to everything. I probably will talk about the Primaris Captain a little bit more than I normally will. Otherwise, I'm just going to notate changes instead, or in new data sheets, as opposed to going in depth on existing ones that roughly stay the same. But there's a lot of little tweaks and changes, so I may have missed some, but this is in a review of, I did this and Codex Necron, so I'm sorry, but I may have missed something. Like, you know what? Crucify me for it. Write it in the comments, and John will respond to you.
I'm the one who responds.
All right, so the Primaris Captain, he basically, you can equip him in a lot of different ways. The standard Primaris Captain with the power sword, with the Mastercrafted Power Sword and Special Bolter, or the Dark Angels one that has his own new kind of Special Bolt Carbine, which is pretty cool. You can also take the new Captain with the Storm Shield and Power Sword, as detailed up here. Relic Shield, my mistake. The Relic Shield is the same. But yeah, so the Dark Angels get a Special Bolter in his thing, and it specifically says if he's from the Dark Angels chapter, he can be equipped differently. There's a lot of stuff like that for Space Wolves and Dark Angels and Blood Angels. Less Blood Angels, but more Space Wolves and Dark Angels. They've got the new Captain with Mastercrafted Heavy Bolt Rifle. So he's a Gravis Captain with a Mastercrafted Heavy Bolt Rifle, which is Rapid Fire 1, Strength 5, -1, 2 flat. And then a Mastercrafted Power Sword, which we all know and love. Keep in mind, Rites of Battle was changed so that now it is only core units. They did go over that on Warhammer Community. Captain of Phobos Armor still has his Omni Scrambler, which is not an aura effect, which is interesting. And then also a Camo Cloak, Combat Knife, all that stuff. So he's still the same. The normal Captain and Gravis Armor is the same. Captain and Terminator Armor. There is no Captain and Cataphracti Terminator Armor entry anymore, as Cataphracti Armor and Tartaros Armor have been rolled into the Relic Terminator Armor entry. So your guy can definitely have the Relic, like whatever Terminator Armor you want. He's still going to have the same statistics. So just gives you some options. It still even has the wrist-mounted grenade launcher in there for the Power Fist. So you can really kind of tool him out to however you like. Then they have the normal captain. He can still take a jump pack. He's still very good. Lots of different options. And if he's a Death Watch captain, he can take a Xenophase Blade if you'd like. And the Xenophase Blade is a +1 strength, -4 AP power sword that you don't get invulnerable saves against. So that's kind of cool. It is only 1 damage, though, which is unfortunate. Although you could make it 2 damage pretty easily with Death Watch. Yeah, that's cool. Or Mastercrafted weapon. All right, you got the captain on the bike. Same stats as before. He's still in there, even though that model is deathly old and needs to be replaced. He still has all the same war gear options as a normal captain for the most part. You've got the Primaris Lieutenant. Primaris Lieutenants are a twofer, so you can get 2 lieutenants for each HQ slot. He still has tactical precision, but again, that is a... one thing about the captain I should mention. If you do take him on a bike and you're in Dark Angels, he does get the Raven Wing keyword, which is pretty neat. Primaris Lieutenants, they get the Wolfguard keyword, which is pretty nice because they're a Wolfguard battle leader. And they still have roughly the same options. There are different options for Dark Angels and Space Wolves, specifically, so to match those character models that they have. A new entry is the Lieutenant in Reaver armor. So he was just a Phobos Lieutenant, but now he has the Reaver role, so he gets terror troops while in enemy units within 3 inches. They're -2 leadership. But otherwise, he's the same. Still has a combat knife and a mastercrafted special issue bolt pistol. You've got the normal lieutenant. You've got the lieutenant in Phobos armor, who has death from above. You've got and all of the lieutenants will get the Wolfguard keyword when they're taken. And the normal lieutenant can still take a jump pack. Primaris Librarian. The same, except if he's a Dark Angel, he'll get Deathwing. The Force Sword does give a +1 strength as well now, so that's kind of a nice thing. Otherwise, yeah, Psychic Hood is the same. Librarian, normal Librarian, almost exactly the same. Just the weapons got better. So Force Axes are +2 strength. Force Staves are +3 strength. Librarian in Phobos armor still has concealed position, still has the camo cloak, and Librarian in Terminator armor lets you. The nice thing about him is you can still take the different war gear options. So he can have a Force Sword, or he can have Force Axe or Force Staff. And again, all of them are Deathwing if they're included in the Dark Angels army. Chaplains. So we have Primaris Chaplain. Again, the same. He's a Wolfguard. He gets the Wolf Priest ability or keyword if he's in a Space Wolves army. So one thing they did change on Chaplains. The Crozius Arcanum is now +2 strength instead of +1 strength, so they become strength 6. And you do litanies of battle during your command phase, not at the start of the battle round. The Primaris Chaplain on bike is new. So he is... he's beefy. He's 7 wounds, 3 up armor, 4 attacks, toughness 5. He's got the Rosarius, he's still got Spiritual Leader, he's got Turbo Boost. He gets Wolf Priest if he's in Space Wolves and with all the Chaplains, but also Raven Wing if he's in Dark Angels. So, man, that guy's good. He's going to be really great in White Scars, I think. You'll definitely want to take him. He's very fast, and yeah, move 14. He still gets a 6-inch auto advance, and he can assault afterwards if he's a White Scar. It's just win-win-win for them. You got Chaplain and Terminator armor. He's the same. He gets the Deathwing keyword as opposed to specifically, because I assume he's an Interrogator Chaplain if he's got Terminator armor. And then there's the normal Chaplain, who again gets Wolf Priest. The final HQs that we have here are the Tech Marines and the Servitors. So the Primaris Tech Marine is a brand new model. He gets weapon skill 3 up, ballistic skill 2+, strength and toughness 4, 5 wounds, and 4 base attacks, which is great. And he gets a 2+ armor save, which is not something Primaris Marines get a lot of. His weapons, he has the Forge Bolter, which is Assault 3, Strength 5, -2. or -1, 2 flat damage. And he has a rule called every time the bearer shoots, it can make attacks with this weapon, even if it has also made attacks with pistols or grenades. So that's kind of cool. So you could like potentially pistol somebody out of combat, like shoot him, because he has a grav pistol, not a normal pistol. You could grav pistol somebody, like shoot him out of combat, and then head to clear the bolter somewhere else and fire that if you're feeling lucky. He also gets Mechadendrites and the Omniscion Power Axe, which all Tech Marines get. It's not just a Power Axe anymore. It's a +2 strength, -2 AP, 2 damage Power Axe. And he's got a Servo Arm. One thing that they did give all the Tech Marines was an ability called Awaken the Machine Spirits. So in your command phase, you can awaken one friendly chapter vehicle within 3 inches, and they get +1 to hit. That's really solid. It just lets them key off of vehicles a little bit more, so that makes me want to take more of these guys for like my Iron Hands or other vehicle-heavy armies. And he still gets to heal D3 wounds. Servitors are more or less the same. They're an elite slot, and they can take up no slot if you have a Tech Marine in your army. And then you have the other Tech Marine, and he has all the standard equipment. The only difference is the Omniscion Power Axe got upgraded, and if he's from the Space Wolves army, he takes a Tempest Hammer and a Hellfrost pistol instead. Which is, the Tempest Hammer is the same, I think, yeah. Yeah, and the Hellfrost pistol has like 2 different firing modes, which are a little different, I believe. All right, guys. So let's move on to core. John, what was the rhyme that you came up with for core?
Oh man, if boots hit the ground, core can be found.
If boots hit the ground, core can be found.
And
man, what a great. Oh, also bikes. What a great rhyme. You really nailed it. So intercessors are the same. None of their weapons changed. Their stats are the same. Assault intercessors, now you have the ability to take different weapons on the sergeant. So they can take thunder hammers, power swords, power fists. Heavy intercessors are brand new, but we've already seen their data sheet. Man, they have a lot of firepower and are very tough. I'm very excited to see how those guys perform on the table. They look like really cool models, and I'm glad to see a few more heavier troops that Space Marines have, especially a core unit. Oh, just kidding. Everything is a core unit. Infiltrator squads, again, are the same, except for they did remove the smoke grenades that they had, and that is now an ability that they can get with a stratagem. And the Helix Gauntlet is different. This is once per turn. The first time a saving throw is failed for the bearer's unit, the damage counts as 0. So that's pretty good. The first failed save basically doesn't count. I think that's really solid. That might be something that you take. It's only 10 points. Let's see here. An Infiltrator Comms Array, they always are considered to be in range for Chapter Phobos models for Rites of Battle and Tactical Precision, which is great. Incursors are the same. Haywire Mine is the same. Except, I'm sorry. Incursors are not the same. They did lose the 6s on the paired combat blades, generate an extra hit. So you don't get to double up on Whirlwind of Rage. So you don't get 2 extra hits. They don't Tesla combat attacks. But they do get -1 AP on the paired combat blades, which is a nice little boost. Let's see. Tactical squads. Really the thing that changed with tactical squads is that they get 2 wounds.
Yep.
That's the big takeaway from them. Hey, are we missing something from the troop section? Yes. Yes, John. Yes, we are.
I'm glad I could ask that question. Yeah.
We're missing scouts, because scouts are an elite choice, and we'll be going over them when we see them. But all of the troops choices in here are core choices as well. So we got the company champion. He gets honor or death. So he can do heroic interventions within 6 inches instead of 3 inches. And if he's in engagement range of any characters, he gets to fight first, which is pretty cool. And if you take a company command squad, company veteran squad, you can include a company champion without taking up a slot. And he gets the Wolfguard keyword if he is in Space Wolves. Next for elites, we've got Scouts. Scoots.
It's weird to say.
Yeah, for real. So there's still core units. They have the smokescreen keyword now, so they can throw smoke grenades, which I thought was kind of a cool ability. The combat knives are the same. Like, I'm pretty sure, yeah, all their weapons are the same except for, heavy bolters are 2 damage. The Astartes shotgun is 18 inches, strength 4, but assault 2. So just extra bolter shots if you want them at 18. And they can take camo cloaks if they want. Their keywords or their abilities, they have Angels of Death, Combat Squads, Concealed Positions, so they can forward deploy, or they can outflank, which is a new ability that they have. Let's see. Oh, Space Wolves can take different troops or different choices because they're Wolf Scouts and they're slightly different. Okay, so Apothecaries. Now, Apothecaries have changed quite a bit. So combat restoratives, at the end of your movement phase, this model can heal one friendly chapter infantry or biker model within 3 inches. That model regains D3 wounds. A model can only be healed once per turn. So even if your Apothecary can double heal, he can still only heal 2 different things, not the same thing twice. And then he has an aura now. So the Narcissium is an aura. While a friendly chapter infantry or biker unit is within 3 inches of this model, it gets a 6-up ignore wounds. This is really good. It does kind of make Iron Hands look a little bit worse, like as far as a choice, because they have that. While I don't have to take an Apothecary with them, it does mean that any chapter can basically replicate the rules for their infantry and have the same ability. And that's fine. It's good. I'm glad Father in the Future. I'm kind of glad Father in the Future is gone because it wasn't very fun to play against. So the Primaris Apothecary is his own deal. He's gone up a significant number of points. He is now 80 points, and the normal Apothecary is 75, going up from 60 for both of them. They were 60 points before. The normal Apothecary can be taken in a detachment with a company veteran squad for no slot. Same with the company Ancient, which is the next choice. So he has the Astartes banner. He hasn't really changed. He can take some war gear, which is the nice thing about him, as opposed to the Primaris Ancient, who can't. All 3 of the Primaris, or all 3 of the Ancients, or all 4 of the Ancients, all get Wolfguard if you take them in the Space Wolves army. The Blade Guard Ancient got the Astartes banner rule and got Deeds of Heroism. So Blade Guard gets a +1 to hit with close to him, and he gets Deathwing if he gets taken in a Dark Angels army. So that's great. So finally, he can actually take the Relic banners and things like that you would want on him on the Blade Guard Ancient. So I think if I were going to take an Ancient that was a Chapter Ancient, I think I would take the Blade Guard Ancient or the Terminator Ancient, one of those 2. So the Terminator Ancient, this was revealed in the last Space Marine Codex as something that they put in there. If he's a Blood Angel, he can take Lightning Claws or Thunder Hammers. If he's from Dark Angels, he can take a Chain Fist. Also, if he's from Dark Angels, because the Dark Angels banner is mounted on his back, so he can take a full Thunder Hammer Storm Shield if he wants to, which is pretty cool. Or you can just keep him with the Stormbolter and Power Fist, which is also good and relatively cheap. The next elite choice is brand new, and that's the Veteran Intercessors. Basically, they're Intercessors with +1 attack, and they get the Wolfguard keyword, which is pretty cool. Like, Space Wolves have some neat stratagems that play off of that, assuming that they will still exist. And they are a core choice as well, so they're a pretty solid counter-assault unit. Otherwise, they have the same options as normal Intercessors. You can choose to upgrade them to Assault Intercessors if you want to.
Nice.
So that's a cool feature. I forgot if that was a thing or not, so had to double check. That's probably pretty good for a lot of different chapters, like Space Wolves or Blood Angels, and that bodes well for their Death Company Intercessors as well. For them to be able to be Death Company with the Assault ones will be pretty good. And we've got Blade Guard Veterans next. Blade Guard Veterans, of course, the same as they ever were. except for you can take them in squads of 3 to 6, and the sergeant can take a Neo-Volkite pistol, which is the same one on the lieutenant, or you can take a plasma pistol. They also get the Deathwing keyword if they're taken in Dark Angels, or the Wolfguard keyword if they're taken in Wolfguard, or Space Wolves. Yeah. Next, we have the Company Veterans. So this is the remnants of the Command Squad if you didn't take the Company banner, all that stuff. A 1 through 5 squad, they have the Bodyguard special rules, so similar to Lichguard from the Necron review. If a character that has a wounds characteristic of 9 or less is within 3 inches of the unit, enemy models cannot target that character with ranged attacks. So just another thing you have to blow through before you're actually able to touch them. And they have a ton of different war gear options, things like that. So a pretty nice little veteran unit. And again, 2 wounds is a nice little buff on them. And same with Vanguard Veterans. Man, I think these guys got a lot better. I can't wait to see them more on the table. I love the whole idea of Vanguard Veterans. I think they're very fun. And man, do they hit hard. And they got a lot more durable. Even though Storm Shields got nerfed a little bit, I don't think it matters that much. I think they still will punch a ton of bricks. Hopefully they get seen more as well. Stern Guard Veterans are relatively the same as well, except for the extra wound. And they didn't go up a ton of points. Stern Guard are only 20 points, and Vanguard are 19. 21 if you give them a jump pack, so still pretty good. The Justiciar. So the Justiciar did change a bit. He's got the same stats, but they did change the Temper Mortis from being a 6-inch bubble to being a 3-inch bubble. So that's really great. That's great news for people who are worried about charging into a Strike's Last aura and getting tagged by him. Now it's kind of more like other charge auras, and 3 inches is way easier to deal with than 6. Reavers are effectively the same. Their Terror Troops aura did get better, so a -2 to leadership within 3 inches. Grapple launchers give them outflank, and they don't count vertical distance when moving. And then if you give them the grav shoots, they can just deep strike anywhere, just like before. The combat knife, to the chagrin of everyone, does not have an AP value still, so Reavers are stuck in kind of a tough place. I think their stratagem makes them a little worth it, but we'll see if that gets utilized or how powerful that will be in the upcoming meta. The Aggressor Squad. Man, what a change. So instead of having each pair of gauntlets be the same, all of them are split up into individual weapons, which makes it nice because you can split attacks. But if you're noticing, there's virtually no special rules or abilities for aggressors. And that's because they lost all of their cool abilities. Well, not cool abilities. I would say they're abilities. Because if you're playing any kind of Horde army or anything like that, the amount of wounds that aggressors could do to you if you weren't watching them is really stupid. So I'm glad that it's a little bit more broad in line. Still 2d6 flame gauntlets is still gonna hurt really bad on hordes, especially if you're salamanders and you can max it. They did go to 12 inches on those too, along with all the other flamer weapons. I still think they're good at 40 points a model. I just don't know if they're a no-brainer like they were before. They're still a fine model, and they still have power fists. And they still have a lot of attacks, because they have 4 attacks each. So, in the first round of combat. Pretty good. Terminators. The Terminator Assault Squad is a little different. They got the extra wound. They got the Storm Shield that does +1 to save, 4+ invul. And then the Teleport Homer, you don't have to place the marker and it doesn't go away. Just once per game, they can teleport back into your deployment zone, which is really cool, especially for the Shooty Terminator Squad. I think that's really solid. And they become Deathwing if they're Dark Angels, and Wolfguard if they're Wolf Angels. Wolf Angels, I'm going to go with that.
Wolf Angels.
Wolf Angels, yeah.
Space Blood.
It's Space Blood, yeah. The Terminator Squad, the normal, the tactical Terminators, if you will. Again, pretty much the same. Every 5 models, you can take one heavy weapon, and You can trade the Power Fists for the Chain Fists, which have kind of swapped stats a little bit. The Chain Fist, of course, went to D3 damage at -4, but it has a special rule where if you attack a vehicle with it, it's straight up just damage 3. So Chain Fist became a lot more attractive, I think. I think you're going to spend points on those. And the Power Fist went to flat damage 2, which is really nice. Again, Deathwing and Wolfguard, respectively. Relic Terminators. The Relic Terminator squad is basically a combination of the Cataphracti and Tartaros armors. And this kind of just lets you switch up equipment, so you can have a squad that has like some double lightning claws and some combi bolters. So the stats aren't any different. There's no difference. They still get the 5-up invulnerable save. They're movement 5, so they're not down to 4 or up to 6, depending if Tartaros armor was used. And you can give them any of the war gear options that were selectable in there. So just a kind of a nice way to really customize your unit. They do look really cool with double lightning claws. Centurion Assault Squad. So they got significantly worse, I think, just with the points increases that they've received. The fact that their Hurricane Bolter isn't always rapid fire and 12 shotting people. The siege drills are the same rules. The flamer is the same, obviously. They're melting. Oh, well, I guess it did get a 12-inch range on the flamer. That's pretty good. They can replace their flamers with meltaguns, same. And you can replace your assault launchers with the Hurricane Bolters. Now, assault launchers do cost points. Like, they still cost 5 points, even though they don't do anything other than be applicable for the stratagem. Let's see, you got the Invictor Tactical Warsuit. This guy's still great. Just upgrades kind of all around. Let's see. Actually, no, he's exactly the same. He lost the stupid rule that he had with the Heavy Bolter where it became a pistol weapon. So you could either choose to shoot the Heavy Bolter and not shoot any other guns, or you could shoot all of the guns except for the Heavy Bolter. So now he just has a Heavy Bolter too, which is fun. Fun. All right. Dreadnoughts. So I think Dreadnoughts will probably win my award for most improved unit in the whole book. Every Dreadnought gets Duty Eternal, which is -1 damage. So that's a stratagem that you suspend CP on to make Dreadnoughts a little bit hardier. But all Dreadnoughts getting Duty Eternal for free. Well, it's not for free. Believe me, they pay points for it. But it's just nice not to have to spend stratagem points on or command points on that anytime you want to do it. So the normal Dreadnought, he clocks in at about 125 points with all the basic war gear. And you can kind of trade him up and give him a missile launcher or give him a heavy flamer instead of a bolter. And then if you're a Space Wolves Dreadnought, you can change your Dreadnought close combat weapon with Great Wolf Claws, which lets you reroll to wound rolls and be Strength 10, -2 AP, 3 flat damage. The Contemptor Dreadnought got a significant buff. To where he used to be 10 wounds and would degrade, and now he went to 9 wounds and doesn't. So I think that's pretty good. Now, he did take a slight hit to that, where because he was weapon skill and ballistic skill 2+, now he's 3+.
Can you give him the character keyword?
You could if you were playing Iron Hands, yeah. So he could get Lookout Sir from your company veterans. You couldn't even snipe him if you wanted to. And he still has all of the same rules, more or less, which is great. I do like that when Dreadnoughts explode, they only do 1 mortal wound within 3 inches, so they explode lightly.
Fall over gently.
Yeah, just please be gentle with me. The Venerable Dreadnought, he has a ton of... he still has the Unyielding Ancient, so he gets a 6-up Feel No Pain, and he's still Weapon Skill, Ballistic Skill 2+. I think he's probably the better buy than the normal Dreadnought, and if he is a Space Wolves Dreadnought, he gets a ton of extra special rules that he can buy stuff for, like the Fenrisian Great Axe and the Great Wolf Claws, if you want. Ironclad Dreadnought, another great choice. The combination of just getting Toughness 8 and also... -1 damage is very powerful. So he's more apt to be able to run around on his own. He's got the Ironclad Assault Launchers. If you want to, you don't have to buy those, but then that gives him the Assault Launchers keyword. Kind of cool. He can still do all the normal stuff. The Dreadnought Chain Fist has changed to where it used to be 4 flat damage, strength times 2 minus 4, but no penalty to hit. Now it's no penalty to hit, but it's 2d3 damage, except if you attack a vehicle, it maxes. So 6 flat damage on every attack, and he's got 5 attacks on the charge. Whereas the Seismic Hammer is 5 damage all the time, but it's minus 1 to hit. The Redemptor Dreadnought did change a bit. Let's see here. So the things that changed on him: Heavy Flamer went up range, Heavy Onslaught Gatling Cannon went to strength 6. Let's see, the Macro Plasma Incinerator went from it used to be if you overcharged it went to 2 damage. Now it's 2 damage or 3 damage on the overcharge, which is nice, and strength 9 if you overcharge it. The normal Onslaught Gatling Cannon went to heavy 8. And the Redemptor Fist. Oh, wow. Okay, that changed. The Redemptor Fist used to be times 2 strength minus 3 AP D6 damage. Now it's D3 plus 3 damage. So that's pretty nice. Let's see here. He still explodes, but he doesn't explode to do D6 damage to everything within 6. It's only D3 now. So again, the little softer on the explosions. Assault squads, more or less the same. Wait, that reminds me. So assault squads have the Melt-A-Bombs keyword, so they can do that Melt-A-Bomb strat, which is really cool. I wonder if Vanguard Veterans have that as well. Now I'm going to go back, flip messily back. Vanguard Veterans do have the Melt-A-Bombs keyword, so they can use that as well. Nice. That's cool. So what did they change about them? Starter's Chainswords, as we all know, are minus 1 AP. And the Eviscerator changed stats, so now it's not times 2 strength, it's plus 3 strength, minus 4 AP, 2 flat damage, but minus 1 to hit. You can take a couple of guys with Eviscerators in your assault squads if you'd like. Outriders are the same, except if they are Dark Angels, they get the Deathwing keyword. They still have 6 attacks each on the charge, which is pretty gnarly. The Invader ATV is brand new. They did leak the data sheet for this in the Start Collecting sets, but it's a little bit different on here. So it does have the Biker Primaris Invader ATV squad. It doesn't say anything about them not being bikers. So I think you can bring them back.
They're not core.
Oh, right. That's right. Thank you. They are not core. You cannot bring them back. Don't even try it.
Ground.
Also, Outriders are core. Oh, you said bikers too. Yeah, okay.
If the boots touch the ground, cores to be found.
Right, sorry.
And bikes.
And bikes.
That's the rhyme scheme.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, he seems like a good choice. I don't know. He seems fast. He's got a lot of wounds. They seem like they make a really good screen. The normal biker squads went up to 3 wounds, which is really great. They become Ravenwing if they're Dark Angels. They become Swift Claws if they are Space Wolves, which is pretty cool. The attack bikes still maintain the 4 wounds that they had previously, so that did not change. They did not go up to 5 wounds. Scout bikers got the outflank keyword. They didn't get the advanced deploy one, so they can't deploy up the table, but they can start in your deployment zone if you like. But you don't have to.
No, just don't deploy them. Kill them.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Worthless unit. No, just kidding. They're great. They still throw out like the most shots per point of any Space Marine squad, pretty much. Let's see. Attack bikes. You can take up to 3 in a squad. They get Ravenwing or Swiftclaw if they're Dark Angels or Space Wolves, respectively. Suppressors are just 3 guys. The Accelerator Autocannon lost an AP but gained a shot. So each guy shoots 3 autocannon shots at minus 1 AP. And they still have Suppressing Fire. Suppressing Fire! Each time a model in this unit makes an attack with an Accelerated Autocannon against an enemy infantry unit, if a hit is scored, that enemy unit can't fire Overwatch. So you could like literally take 3 of them and go, okay, all 3 of you guys attack different things. Inceptors remained exactly the same. They did lose their Deadly Descent rule where they got mortal wounds when they charged on 6s. So they don't have that anymore. Still max 6. And the stats on the guns didn't change either. Oh, new units. Storm Speeders. So Storm Speeders are thick land speeders with an extra guy. So it's a veritable three-way of fun. So the Storm Speeder Hailstrike has inspired the memes. This is the one where the guy is deaf because he has the two heavy stubbers next to him, firing all the time. It's pretty inexpensive. It has 10 wounds. It's like, I think it's around 150 points. We can look at that later. But it's got a Onslaught Gatling Cannon, it has 2 Frag Storm grenade launchers, and a twin Iron Hail heavy stubber. So it fires like 2d6 plus 16 shots, so it just shoots a lot of shots. And you can't take them in squadrons, so you can't have more than one. The Thunderstrike is an interesting one because its ballistic skill is one better than the other land speeders. And this one has Storm Fury missiles under the wings, so those are one shot, strength 10, minus 3, d6 damage. And then it has the Thunderstrike Las Talon, which is a 36-inch Las Talon. And then 2 twin Icarus rocket pods, which are heavy 2d3 autocannons. It just has one rocket pod, sorry. So it's a heavy 2d3 autocannon that has blast, and it gets +1 hit against aircraft. So that one's pretty good. It's a little bit more expensive. And then you have the Storm Speeder Hammerstrike. This is the one that has the Hammerstrike missile launchers. So heavy 2, strength 8, minus 3, 3 flat damage. 2 Crack Storm grenade launchers. Assault 1, strength 6, minus 1, d3. And then it has a Melta Destroyer. That sounds like a good weapon, right?
For sure.
Yeah. So 24 inches, heavy 3, strength 8, minus 4 AP, d6 damage, and then it gets Melta, so it gets +2 damage if it's within half range. Not bad. Yeah, they seem good. I don't think they're great. I think they're good. The land speeders. Land speeders are a nice choice in this book now, I think. I think you may want to take some. Especially if you're taking a whirlwind, right? Mm-hmm. So they have a rule called data link telemetry. It used to be a stratagem. It did. That we talked about in our Iron General segment we did. So data link telemetry, at the start of your shooting phase, select one enemy unit within 18 inches invisible to them. At the end, until the end of the phase, each time a friendly chapter whirlwind model makes an attack with the blast keyword against them, you get +1 to hit. So just a nice thing, just existing on the table. I pick a unit with an 18, and my whirlwinds get +1 to hit against that unit. All right. So after normal land speeders, we get into 2 new unit entries, and these weren't in there before because they just wanted you to upgrade normal land speeders. But guess what? You have Tornadoes and Typhoons. They're back, guys. They're back, and just as okay as they were before. So they have the same stats as a land speeder. They have roughly the same special rules, except they don't have data link telemetry. Those are only on normal land speeders because those guys aren't shooting as many guns, and so they have more time to point stuff out and be on the radio. The other land speeder pilots really hate the Tornado pilots and the Typhoon pilots. Fucking hate the regular land speeder pilots because they think they're lazy. They don't do as much work. They're just they're not shooting stuff.
What's even the point?
Yeah, what's even the point of you? All right. So a Tornado has an assault cannon and a heavy bolter. You can upgrade the heavy bolter to a multi-melta or the assault cannon to a heavy flamer. And the Typhoons have a heavy flamer and the Typhoon launcher, which is the same. And it's fine. I mean, they're both good. And as Raven Wing, they're probably decent. They do good work. Hellblasters. So Hellblasters did change a little bit. One thing I did like is that they remain the same points. So they're 33 points a model, but you get any of the guns. So I think a lot of them got the Assault Plasma Incinerator seems a lot more tasty, just because it fires 3 shots each. That's pretty spicy. And then the Heavy Plasma Incinerator is good now too, in that it is the 36-inch range, and it's flat 2 damage on its normal shot, or flat 3 on its supercharged shot. Or if you're Dark Angels and you're feeling
spicy,
who cares? Yeah, 4 damage on those things with Weapons of the Dark Age. Get out of here. You're going to die. Yep, so that is Hellblasters. Eliminators. Man, somebody didn't like Eliminators. So they nerfed the mortis round a little bit, so it doesn't do D3 mortal wounds anymore, and it does 2 flat damage instead of D3, which is a slight upgrade in my opinion. The hyperfrag rounds got blast. I liked that. So you can 3 guys put out 9 strength 5 shots. That's kind of cool. And then you have executioner round. So the executioner round used to be the 360 no scope round. So you could shoot it like from behind walls and things like that. Well, with the fact a lot of people thought that maybe that was like a typo and they weren't supposed to get rid of the no line of sight. Nope. It only adds 1 to your hit roll now instead of 2, and you don't get cover. But that's it. That's the difference. The other thing is the Instigator Bolt Carbine still has the covering fire word as well. Las Fusils have the same shots, but they are a little bit cheaper. A little bit, not a lot. They're still 30 points a model, which is pretty expensive. I don't know how great they are. Centurion Devastators. One thing I like about them is that they can take the Centurion missile launcher or the Hurricane Bolter, but they cost the same points. So you're pretty much taking the missile launcher all the time. And then they have grav cannons, or they can replace them with other weapons. Note, this is the first time we've seen grav cannons on a sheet. Grav cannons do 2 flat damage instead of D3 damage. And if you watched our earlier review video about stratagems, you'll see that there is no gravic amplification strat, so no reroll to wound.
So you have to regular kill things instead of overkill.
Instead of just easily kill everything. It does make the grav cannon a little bit more interesting comparatively to like things like multi-meltas and things like that for killing vehicles, which I like that a lot. All right, so now we're on the resident bad boy of the Space Marine Codex. What I would say is probably the best unit in the book, I think.
Ooh.
Yeah. That'd be the Eradicator.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, we're all in agreement.
I thought it was going to be like some like surprise unit out of nowhere.
Nope.
Like,
Nope, it's just the really good one. So Eradicators get more models in the squads. They were already good at that. They cost the same points that they did before, so they're still 40 points. You can take the heavy melta rifle instead of the normal melta rifle, and that's a heavy weapon, but it does +2 damage, or if you're in short range, it does +4 damage. So minimum damage 5 on a weapon is real good. And you can take a multi-melta for every 3 of them. So the multi-melta getting to shoot twice with 2 shots, so that guy gets 4 shots is well worth.
But you can't advance and shoot anymore, right?
Well, so they changed the total obliteration rule to where if you shoot twice if you target the same thing, unless you advanced. So there is no right. So you can't advance and shoot them at all, but you also can't advance and double fire. So it definitely makes the heavy weapons to me a little bit more viable. These guys currently do have the core keyword. I don't know if that will stick around. We'll see, depending on how prevalent they get. I think an army with like 3 blocks of 6 of those is like, when an apothecary is going to be a real pain in the butt to take down. All right, Devastators. Devastators didn't really change. The Amorium Cherub is just a piece of war gear, so it's not a model. So they don't have to have a stipulation in there about it not taking up transport space, that kind of stuff. Devastator's got 2 wounds, which is nice. Other than that, they are the same. The Thunderfire Cannon, this guy did change. So he actually went down points from where he was, but he is nowhere near the beast that he was in 8th edition. So roughly the same stats on both models. So that hasn't changed, but he got the Thunderfire Cannon went from strength 5 to strength 4, and it lost an AP. So it's strength 4, 0 AP, 1 damage. It's really great at killing chaff, and it's really good for the stratagem to like slow stuff down. But other than that, it's probably pretty bad. Which is fine with everybody. Nobody even cried once about that. I have you all on video, and I've seen it. It's true. Don't deny it. It's total 120 points for everything.
It's a lot of a lot of regular bolt guns that don't need line of sight now.
Right. And it doesn't have auras or anything like that, so your Night Lords guy can't come in and Fox Scream at the Thunderfire Cannon and kill it either. When that was the thing that might work. Fire Strike Servo Turrets. These are a new unit. They are about 75 points apiece. You can take 1 to 3 in a unit, and they have a 2+ armor save, toughness 5, and 5 wounds each. But they are a vehicle, so they will count for Bring It Down, which is significant because they're like, it would be pretty easy to rack up a bunch of points against these guys. Each one can be equipped with either a twin accelerator autocannon or a twin las talon. So either you get 4 las cannon shots at 24 or 6 autocannon shots at 48. They're not bad. I think those are fun. They seem like a good backfield objective holder, and they put out a lot of firepower. And they do not have core, as we discussed the rhyme. Let's see. The Hunter went up in points a bit. It's 115 points, same with the Stalker. It fires, it's still a pretty good platform for toughness 8 and 11 wounds. It only has 1 gun, which is the Sky Spear missile, which is a las cannon that has a 60-inch range. If you shoot against an aircraft, you get +2 to hit. Anytime you wound an aircraft, it does, instead of d6 damage, it does d6 + 6 damage. So it can shoot a plane out of the sky in 1 hit, which is pretty cool. You've got the Stalker, and that has the twin Icarus autocannons. So it gets to fire, Icarus storm cannon. So it gets to fire 6 shots, 6 autocannon shots, and it gets it gets +1 to hit against aircraft units, and each of those shots gets to. So each of the shots counts as 2 shots when you shoot it. So it gets to fire 12 shots against aircraft. It's pretty good. Let's see, the Whirlwind. Whirlwind is still pretty pricey at 125, but Indirect is still good. It always has been. It has Blast on both of its profiles. They're both the same profiles. Other than that, it has not changed. Predator Destructor, another unit that hasn't changed. It's more expensive than the Annihilator. 1 Predator autocannon is better than a twin link glass cannon. I don't know if that's true. That probably is true. I don't know why I'm saying that. It's definitely true. But other than that, it stayed the same. The Predator Annihilator, like I said before, is its own entry. And then we get into another new unit, the Gladiator Lancer. So the Gladiator Lancer is a 12 wound toughness 8 hover tank. It has the repulsor field keyword. It also has auto launchers, so it gets the smokescreen keyword, so it can launch smokescreen against people who shoot at it. It has 2 storm bolters, which it can replace with frag storm launchers. It can take an extra Iron Hail heavy stubber, Icarus rocket pod, or auto launchers. So if it takes auto launchers, it gets smokescreen. And then its main gun is the Lancer laser destroyer, and that's heavy 2. Strength 10 -3, D3 +3 damage, and it has the Aquilon optics. So when it makes an attack with the laser destroyer, it gets +1 to hit. So it hits on 2+ on both those shots. So kind of nice little does some work. It's got some shots. It's basically that gun mounted on the profile, and I believe that is the cheapest one. No, it's not. Not even. Yeah, it is. That one runs about 250 points. Now, the Gladiator Reaper is my favorite one of the 3. The Reaper is the one with the double heavy onslaught cannon, so it has a heavy 24 gun at strength 6 -1 damage. And then it has 2 Tempest Bolters, and the Tempest Bolters are double storm bolters. So it fires, if you're within 15 inches, and they're bolt rifles too, they're not just bolters, so they're AP -1. So if you're in short distance, it fires 16 shots at strength 4 -1 damage, and then 24 shots at strength 6 -1 damage, which is like 40 shots. That's pretty good for like 260 points, something like that. Maybe that one's 250 and the other one's 230. That sounds about right. And then finally, the last Gladiator is the Gladiator Valiant. This guy is supposed to be like the close range bruiser. He gets in there and blows up tanks. So he has 2 multi-meltas and a twin las talon. So he gets 4 shots with the twin las talon, so 4 las cannon shots, as well as 4 multi-melta shots. So he can definitely bust up some tanks. Next, we have the Vindicator. The Vindicator got one change, and that's the change to the Vindicator's Siege Shield. Each time a ranged attack is allocated against him, add 1 to the armor save against that attack. So if he has the Siege Shield, he gets a 2+ armor save. And so that's pretty nice for like toughness 8. Points on him didn't change. He's about 125. 130. I think he's 130. Land Raider. Land Raider's the same. Yep, Land Raider's the same. He's all the Land Raider variants are 285 point space. Crusader is the same, and the Redeemer is the same. Hey, here's something you didn't expect to see in the heavy support slot: the regular repulsor.
What?
It's not a dedicated transport anymore.
Good. I mean, it's in the heavy sports slot.
The nice thing I found about the way that they're doing points with these is I don't have to add up the points of all the weapons that the repulsor has. I just say, I'm just going to take it with what it has, and that's what it has.
Who even has time with that?
Oh, I know. I've probably added up those points like 50 times at least, and it's so annoying every single time I do it. Yeah, the repulsor is roughly the same. He still blows up for D6 mortal wounds. He lost... you have to take the auto launchers to get smokescreen. He lost the -2 inches to charge, so just keep that in mind. He also doesn't have the fly keyword.
He doesn't?
Nope.
Does the Executioner have that?
Nope. Now that I'm looking at that, do the new tanks have it? Nope.
Huh.
Interesting. Okay, well that's fine. It just makes it a little bit easier to lock these guys in combat.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
I'm very happy about that.
Yep. And he's about 315 points base for all the guns on him. And the Repulsor Executioner is about 330 through 350.
Which is way fairer now that you can't just lock him up. Or you can just lock him up a little, he can't fly away.
Well, at least they can shoot you now.
Mm-hmm.
So they changed Aquilon optics. So like we talked about a little bit earlier with that Gladiator variant, it's now just +1 to hit with your main gun. So the macro plasma incinerator is a lot better. It's the same one as on the Redemptor Dreadnought. It would be amazing if it was 2 shots. And the heavy laser destroyer is still only 2 shots. 2 shot. It gets to shoot twice. It's heavy 2. The macro plasma incinerator, if it got to fire its turret weapon twice, so it got heavy 2d6, it would be insane. But it's still fine. Same transport capacity, same restrictions. Still segregated transports into Primaris and regular. The Rhino went up to 80 points, but includes the Stormbolter, so it really went up like 2 points or something like that. So not a big deal. Otherwise, it's the same. And the Rhino does have the smokescreen keyword as well, which is nice because it has smoke launchers built in. Huh. Now that I'm thinking about this, I'm going to check one thing real quick.
Yeah.
Do Dreadnoughts have that keyword? I feel like they should. Yeah, all the Dreadnoughts do as well. That's great. Actually, that's really great. I'm glad that they have that. The Razorback is a little bit more expensive. It starts at 110 with a twin heavy bolter, but otherwise it's the same and costs additional points for the other weapons. Now, the Impulsor did change quite a bit. The most important thing, the Shield Dome changed to a 5-up invulnerable save instead of the 4-up, so that's a big difference. And it didn't actually lose a lot of points. It still gets the Assault Vehicle special rules, so you can disembark after movement, and you just can't assault. But you can move after you get out, which is pretty nice. It also can't transport jump pack or mark or Gravis armor model still. Let's see here. So you can do. You can still do the orbital comms array to shoot down some blasts on people. The Bellicatus missile array is the same. The Iron Hail heavy stubbers are heavy 4.
Nice.
I missed that before. That's pretty cool.
And you said it does have the fly keyword?
It does not have the fly keyword.
Oh.
Man. Yeah, that's a big deal, actually. Now that I'm thinking about that. That's huge. Interesting. The Iron Hail Sky Talon array is heavy 8, and it also doesn't get the -1 to hit against non-shooty targets. So I think that's the way you play them now, as little gunboats, because you can play an Iron Hail Heavy Stubber and the Iron Hail Sky Talon array. And then you're getting 12 Strength 4 -1 shots, or -2 on the first turn, plus 2 Storm Bolters. That's a lot of shots for a pretty inexpensive tank. All right. Moving on, we have the Drop Pod. Let's see. Drop Pod has Death from Above. They went to 70 points. So they're a little bit more expensive, but not much, like 2 points more or something like that. So we've got Drop Pod Assault, and it's important for me to read this one because we have to know. This transport must start the battle up high in the skies, see Death from Above, but neither it nor any of the units embarked in it are counted towards any limits that mission you are playing places on the maximum number of reinforcement units that you can have in your army. This transport can also be set up in the reinforcements step of your first, second, or third movement phase, regardless of any mission rules. Any units embarked with this transport must immediately disembark after it has been set up on the battlefield, and they must be set up more than 9 inches away from enemy models. After this transport has been set up on the battlefield, no units can embark within it. When it blows up, it only does 1 mortal wound now, within 6 instead of D3. That's fine too. And it can't carry any Jump Pack, Terminator, Primaris, Wolfen, or Centurion models. Oh, that's good. And the same, I think.
Just cleaned up.
Yep. Landspeeder Storm gets Outflank. And it has the assault vehicle keyword, like the repulsor, so you can really put those scouts out there. Like, just being able to move this 16 or 18 inches, its movement is 18. He does have fly, by the way. Yeah. You can move 18, get out 3, and then also move 6 inches from scouts, and then do an action.
Yeah. Scramble that.
So I think that's a really, really powerful, like, mobile tool, and I think you still might see Landspeeder Storms and Scouts in people's armies, because I think they're pretty good for that. Stormhawk Interceptor. This guy went down overall a few points. More or less is the same. Like all the guns that shoot at aircraft get bonuses against aircraft, but don't suffer penalties against non-aircraft anymore, which is nice. So he's got the Icarus Storm Cannon, or the Last Talon, Skyhammer Missile Launcher, or the Typhoon Missile Launcher if you want to. The Inferium Halo Launcher, which is a thing on their back that used to make them an extra -1 to hit against for flyers, is now just aircraft that target him. He gets a +1 to his armor save, which is better. But yeah, he's fine. There's nothing wrong with him. It's just he's not as good as he used to be. He doesn't have like a generic +1 to hit against models with fly anymore. And same thing with the Storm Talon gunship. It lost the the attack ground people strafing run. And he went down a few points. The Storm Raven went down a few points, but otherwise those units haven't changed very much at all. Although the heavy plasma cannon did go to 2 flat damage, which is pretty nice. So like on Dreadnoughts and things like that, they go to 3 when you overcharge, so it's actually maybe worth it. And the very last thing is a brand new unit.
Always.
Yes.
Best.
The Hammerfall Bunker.
This is good.
So the first thing I thought, well, can this thing deep strike? Hell no. It just sits there.
It is already deep struck.
It is, yeah. It has struck the ground in a violent manner. So it's a 14 wound vehicle with toughness 8. It doesn't move, obviously. It has the defensive array special rule, where and if you want to, you can replace the heavy bolters with heavy flamers. You don't get both, so you can choose. So if you want to take it with all heavy flamers, you can. And then it just shoots everything within 12 inches with its heavy flamers every turn. I would much rather have heavy bolters.
Yeah.
It is ballistic skill 4 up, which is nice.
It's like maybe if you could deep strike it, you would put heavy flamers on it.
Yeah, for sure. Defensive array. In your shooting phase, each time this model is selected to shoot, its Hammerfall heavy bolter array or its Hammerfall heavy flame array can target and resolve attacks against every eligible enemy unit. Each time this model fires Overwatch, it can only resolve attacks with its weapons against the charging unit, But when doing so, the type of its Hammerfall Heavy Bolter array is changed to Heavy 6, and the type of its Hammerfall Heavy Flamers is changed to Heavy 2d6. So it has either the Heavy Bolters, so it fires 3 Heavy Bolter shots at everything that it can see. That's pretty cool. And then it also has the Hammerfall Missile Launcher, which has Super Frag and Super Crack missiles.
I love the naming scheme on this, by the way.
Super.
Yeah.
All right, so then we have descriptions of what bolt weapons, flame weapons, melta weapons, plasma weapons are, and also the relics that are associated with them. And then literally the weapon stats. So many weapon stats, guys. Like, Space Marines just have a lot going on, man. I mean, who didn't need 10 different types of plasma gun?
Well, that's 10 armies in one book, pretty much.
It's true. That's true.
So.
Yeah. John, you got me there, man.
I try. Got him.
And then points value. So you can see, like, as opposed to the Necron one, which is 3 pages of points, Space Marines have a few more options. So, like, every unit, some of the units, especially things like company veterans or tactical squads or Vanguard veterans, that kind of stuff, have, like, a huge list of different war gear that they can take. So check that out when you have a second. I'm not going to go through every single points change. I would say overall, Space Marine units went up about 17%, but a lot of their war gear costs are now reflected in the units, so I think they probably went up about 5% on average. I would say that's about right. And then we have the glossary. So the glossary has what combat doctrines are, what's happening, kind of like a quick reference guide to various different rules, and then also a quick reference guide to the various different rules like combat squads, detachment abilities, honorifics, outflanking, shock assaulting, all that stuff.
All in one place.
All in one handy-dandy place on one page. All the important things you need to know, except for the actual rules of unit. So, I think this book is really good, but I think this is the death of Space Marines, like, in the meta in general. Like, well, not the death. They're toned down. Like, they're still a good army, and I think that they have some great units. I think that a competitive Space Marine army is going to really leverage things like Eradicators, Inceptors, the heavy Intercessors. I think those are all units that are very, very good for this army because they really are, like, hard to kill. They have a lot of wounds. If you have an apothecary, he's like bringing guys back and or giving a bubble of 6-up feel no pain. The amount of damage that Space Marines can put out is still really high, but it's less than it was before. And the characters are not nearly as beat sticky as they were in the previous version of the book. So that's all good stuff. The Smash Captain is, like, probably not great. Now, the Teeth of Terror Captain is still really good. But again, he's still hitting on 2s, but he's not rerolling his own 1s for himself. So that's definitely something to think about. Overall, a great book. Really looking forward to the supplements to see how it works out with them. Like, I want to see what Dark Angels are doing. I want to see what Blood Angels are doing. And Death Watch especially. Because, like, they have the most divergent stuff. So I'm interested to see how they're going to combine stuff into different kill teams for Death Watch and things like that. John, do you have any other thoughts?
No, it kind of goes on the same thing. They were doing the Necron Codex. Where things are being simplified for speed. So the Melta rule is not 2 dice looking, it's 1 dice plus 3, or plus 2.
So you could roll them all together instead of having to roll them individually.
So there's a lot of streamlining to go for that here. A lot of and as Danny said, it's a lot of small tweaks. So Repulsor is all losing fly and no -2. Those are huge.
I didn't even see the fly thing until just now.
Huge, tiny changes. And this book is full of huge little changes. But a lot of new tricks, like the Landspeeder Storm Scouts, guaranteeing scrambles pretty much every game.
Oh yeah.
And some of the other things are out there. It's a new army, or it's 10 new armies in one new book.
And all the war gear changes, like the heavy bolters, multi-meltas, power swords, all that stuff, power fists.
I like the kind of the constant switching between war gear and strats. Is it a stratagem? Is it a piece of war gear? There's a lot of switching back and forth.
That's pretty cool.
Which makes me, like, super excited for the future.
And now it's both.
Yeah, to see kind of what kind of comes out from there. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, great. This is kind of the end of our preview. This is kind of the end of our review. If you enjoyed our review, please subscribe to us on YouTube Check out our other content. We're occasionally funny, and have and we put out some good content, like the worst character in 40K, which is also on our every other week podcast that we run, found wherever fine podcasts are sold, or downloaded for free. And check us out on there. We do put out an episode every 2 weeks. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
You've mastered the art of the Stanley. You've downloaded the ITC Battles app. You've loaded your dice to guarantee your charge. Now perfect your game with Mob Rules measuring accessories. Made of the finest acrylic and carrying the skill of the Danny, the tactics of the Dave, and something positive about John. Get yours now at hammerheadgames.net.